Welcome to Think and Grow Rich, the Desire chapter, segment 1. I was asked to do a summary of chapter 1 of Think and Grow Rich. Now, in my version of Think and Grow Rich, this chapter is actually chapter 2, just so you know. But it's the chapter on desire. Chapter 1 in my book is the introduction. Chapter 2 is the desire. I know in some of the older editions, chapter 1 was desire, and the introduction was simply the introduction. The starting point of all achievement and the first step toward riches is desire, according to Napoleon Hill. And he's right. Those of you who are familiar with Your Wish is Your Command, you know that Kevin Trudeau has quoted Napoleon Hill from this book and from other books, where he says to define your chief aim, your target, and get a burning desire for the achievement thereof. So, chapter 2, desire, the starting point of all achievement, the first step toward riches. The chapter begins like this. When Edwin C. Barnes climbed down from the freight train in Orange, New Jersey, more than 30 years prior to the writing of this book, he may have resembled a tramp, but his thoughts were those of a king. Now remember, this book is entitled Think and Grow Rich, not Look Good and Grow Rich, not Look Rich and Become Rich. Think and Grow Rich. So he had the right thoughts, regardless of how he looked. He may not have looked the part, but he thought the part. Okay? As he made his way from the railroad tracks to Thomas A. Edison's office, his mind was already at work. He saw himself. Visualization. That's something else he'll talk about in later chapters. He saw himself standing in Edison's presence. He heard himself asking Mr. Edison for an opportunity to carry out the consuming obsession of his life, a burning desire to become the business associate of the great inventor. Barnes' desire was not a hope. It was not a wish. It was a keen, pulsating desire which transcended everything else. It was definite. The desire was not new when he approached Edison. It had been Barnes' dominating desire for a long time. In the beginning, when the desire first appeared in his mind, it may have been, probably was only a wish at that time, but it was no more wish. It was no mere wish when he appeared before Edison with it. About a year ago, I met with a person, and what they had to say changed my life. A lot of what they said changed my life. And this was one thing that they said, which contributed to me greatly at that time, and I still carry it with me, and do my best to live by it every day. And that is to replace 7 or 8 words that you hear all the time, and maybe you say all the time, with one word. Those 7 or 8 words are should, ought, want, wish, hope, need, try, and can't. And hope. I'm not sure if I mentioned that one. Replacing all of them with choose. And that's what Mr. Barnes did here. He made a choice. He made a decision, if you will, that his burning desire, the time to step forward and act as if it were guaranteed to happen, was now. So he took action. He prepared himself first, however. He took that which was a wish, a dream at the beginning, and let it burn and pulsate and just boil beneath the surface until finally he's like, I gotta do it. Now's the time. It's time, it's time, it's time. I'm going to do it. That's it, period. That's a decision. You've now clearly defined what it is that you are choosing for yourself, and you're going for it. And that's the summary of this entire chapter, which I'm going to read. I'll probably cover the text of the entire chapter before I'm done with these videos. The point is that desire is the first step toward riches, the starting point of all achievement of any kind. Whether your goal is money, great relationship, awesome physical health, great relationship with your kids, or a material object, a car, a boat, something, whatever it is, fame, your own TV show, your own business, whatever it is, learning a skill and perfecting it to the level of mastery, whatever it is, desire is the first step toward that. Okay? It was no mere wish when he appeared before Mr. Edison with this desire. And a few years later, Edwin C. Barnes stood again before Edison in the same office where he first met the inventor. This time, his desire had been translated into reality. I say seen reality because when the desire was in his mind, it was already a reality. It was absolutely a reality. It just wasn't actualized, realized in this seen realm that we call reality. But by this time, when he stood before Edison a few years later in the same office, his desire had already been translated into a seen reality. He was in business with Edison. The dominating, quote, dream of his life, which it was when it started out, it was just a dream, a wish, a hope, had become a reality. Today, people who know Barnes, when this was written, today people who knew Barnes or who know Barnes envy him because of the break life yielded him. They see him in the days of his triumph without taking the trouble to investigate the cause of his success. Barnes succeeded because he chose, there's that word, choose, he chose a definite chief aim, a definite target, and placed all of his energy, all of his willpower, all of his effort, everything back behind that target. He did not become the partner of Edison the day he arrived. He was content to start in the most menial of tasks, as long as it provided an opportunity to take even one more step toward his cherished chief aim. 5 years passed before the chance he had been seeking made its appearance. During all those years, not one ray of hope, not one promise of attainment of his desire had been held out to him. To everyone except himself, he appeared only another cog in the Edison business wheel. But in his own mind, he was the partner of Edison every minute of the time, from the very first day that he went to work there. It is a remarkable illustration of the power of a definite desire. Barnes won his goal because he chose. He desired to be the business associate of Mr. Edison more than he desired anything else. It was his chief aim, his chief desire. He created a plan by which to attain that purpose, and he burned all the bridges behind him. That's the key right here. He stood by his desire until it became the dominating obsession of his life, and finally, a fact. When he went to Orange, Barnes did not say to himself, quote, I will try to induce Edison to give me a job of some sort. He said, I will see Edison and put him on notice that I have come to go in business with him. He did not say, I'll work there for a few months, and if I get no encouragement, I'll quit and get a job somewhere else. He did say, I will start anywhere. I will do anything Edison tells me to do, but before I am through, I will be his associate. He did not say, I will keep my eyes open for another opportunity in case I fail to get the one that I really want in the Edison organization. He did say, there is but one thing in this world that I am determined to have, and I would say to be and to do, and that is a business association with Thomas A. Edison. I will burn all bridges behind me and stake my entire future upon my ability to get what I desire. He left himself no possible way of retreat. He had to win or perish. That's all there is to the Barnes story of success. A long while ago, a great warrior faced a situation which made it necessary for him to make a decision, which ensured his success on the battlefield. He was about to send his armies against a powerful foe, whose men outnumbered his own. He loaded his soldiers into boats, sailed into the enemy's country, unloaded the soldiers and the equipment, then gave the order to burn the ships that carried them. Addressing his men before the first battle, he said, "You see the boats going up in smoke? That means we cannot leave these shores alive until we win. Now we have no choice. We win or we perish." They won. Every person who wins in any undertaking must be willing to burn his ships and cut all sources of retreat or backing out. Only by so doing can one be sure of maintaining that state of mind known as a burning desire, no pun intended in this case, a burning desire to win, essential to success. Now, that's really all I have to say on this first video. Welcome to the Think and Grow Rich Desire chapter, segment 1. Stand by for segment 2. Okay, now I just need to figure out how to turn this thing off.